Right, so... Oh, you actually fired up already. Oh yeah, I just see you going, didn't I? I guess I don't have any power issues then. I was worried that I might run into power issues when it fired up. That means I'm not duplicating them though. No, let's stand by. Stand by. You're halfway through producing one, but I want to double more of these. Mitigate the amount of work that I need to do at least, because why not? So, one, I'm going to overclock you to just get these done faster. Because then I can pull the soma swoops out of here and put them into the other thing. We need to actually get more power shards out now. There we go. And in the meantime, the powder can just start backing up, so that's fine as well. Because we're producing the cubes much faster than we need. And because 0.2 per minute, we're producing like 3 a minute. But I just want all of the cubes that I need. Now, what are you doing? You're still making more... Ah, you've run out of rubber. Okay. I should actually just put rubber directly into you for the time being. Which we can kind of do here, to be honest. So let's rearrange this a little bit. Oh, we actually have this... That's a splitter, isn't it? But it's the wrong direction for my purposes. Ah. But we can put another splitter on here as well. So let's just deconstruct these for the time being. And then have... Doesn't need to be anything fancy, really. Because we're not actually using that much of it. But we need it facing this way. Doesn't need to go up that high, I don't think. Can we just go underneath the power pole, though? Okay, and then have a splitter. So then we can go from here across to there, where it was going, and then coming in this direction from that one. There we go. So let's keep that moving. And then let's put in the rubber that I have on me. So now you can just keep going. We probably don't need you overclocked, though it is nice to just produce you quickly. 30 per minute. Well, we'll see if we start running out of rubber, finally. We've got tons in here, though, so let's just actually take out a bunch of this and stick it all in here. Because you're our highest rubber consumer currently, I think. Right, and then we have you over here. We're going to need another bunch of you. Oh, I forgot that didn't stack up. Because you're going to run out. Let's just ramp you up entirely. It jumped because it fired back up again, of course. Right, because we need another couple of soma sloops in order to properly service that. And if we can pull them out of here once we're done with this, then that would be ideal. But it's going to take some time. Gonna take some time. Right, and then modular engines is only part one of that. And then the idea is we need to combine that with turbo motors, cooling systems, and fused modular frames. Yeah, so we need more of those. Well, let's grab those and some more of these as well, and take them back to our cooling system production, because we need the most of that when it comes to the third component. So you have run out. Yep, so you have more of these to keep you going. Make another 100 of them. Right, now rubber. We do have extra, but let's get some more going. Ah, perfect. A lot of cooling systems. I'd love to see it. Let's take a lot of these back with us, shall we? Good. You're no longer... Oh, you are still doubling as well. Yeah. So you are still doubling, which is nice. I'm glad that I have the soma swoops handy to be able to double so many things now. Alright, let's go back. We're just a ferry service for materials at this point. But for the quantities that we need, I'm not interested in doing long-range stuff like hooking up more drones or anything like that. The drones to ferry plastic and rubber to our main base from our outpost was absolutely necessary. It would be so distracting and so annoying. It was bad enough that until we got the drone technology, having to make all of those trips to and from, but there was no real way that I could string up a direct connection otherwise. Okay, so we should have some turbo motors in here. Ah, not many. Oh, we need the radio control units for you as well, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Right, so we need to be able to repurpose this thing over here to make more radio control units again. Use like the crystal oscillators and stuff. Or we need another manufactory placed down somewhere that can do that. Because you're busy with modular engines. Yeah, because we need more of these, unfortunately. I mean, when it's 25 and 50, then that's actually perfect. So after this one... Oops, hold on. There we go. That's now perfect, so that the other 28 can go over here. Okay, that gets you going a bit more. It's something, but we've still got a lot of motors sitting in here, 29 more. Uses 4 each time though, so that might almost be enough. You're paused, which means you don't back up, which is interesting. Kind of weird, but what do you stack up to anyway? Must be 500, I would assume. Okay, as soon as I can soma sloop you, then you are getting fired back up again, and that will really ramp your power requirements. But because we're underclocking you so much, it's not going to be that bad. It'll take a long time to make... It's 5 minutes for one. I don't know, at that point maybe I can look at my power network and figure out some things that I can shut down to be able to overclock that and actually have it just going gangbusters. And once I've produced enough copper powder, I can shut all these down, but these don't actually use that much. This though, I mean, this is using 150. Yes, that's kind of peanuts though. This doesn't have to be overclocked. Oh, we're actually almost out of the motors though, because that's the other thing, is that this will run down based on the motors. Because that was the limiting factor, which means that that should then be everything that we need, I think. If I did my maths right, which I'm not confident about. So you're now finished. Alright. So that should be all the smart plating I need, and in fact probably too much. So I have a spare assembler now. Well, while we're waiting for everything, let's choose another milestone and just clear another one of these off. Okay. So plastic I was actually running a little bit low on, was the weird thing. But rubber I should have plenty of. So heavy modular frame, let's not get it out of storage because I have some just over here anyway. You're paused again. You need screws this time, of course. Everything else is currently fine. Though we don't have any industrial or modular frames spare. Did I actually pick up? No, I didn't. Got distracted by the fact that it was out. Let's grab 50 of those. We are running down because we've been using those for the fused things. We're actually running out of those now. So let's come in here and drop that off. Rubber is flowing through here. That's fine. We need 1,000. Do you have 1,000 in here still? Yes. You'll eventually fill up. Pop those in there. That said, there's probably more in here that just needs to come out. Yeah, because you're full down the bottom. You're our true backlog because you're not actually used. I wonder if I actually use more now. I need to remember to come over and plunder that first though, that's the thing. Plastic, we've got not much currently. We're barely keeping pace. How much are we actually using plastic-wise now? I need to compare that to what's actually been produced. So, I mean, 20, near as makes no difference from that. Need to follow everywhere that it's going now. So 20 and then 40, so that's 60. And then I think this was only like 14 or something, isn't it? Yeah, 14, so 74. We're probably only making 60. 74. Okay. So I think I actually have to go all the way back to my other base. For the first time in a long time, we have to follow the hypertube the whole distance to check out our oil base again. And here we are. Where you have been busy probably. Yep, we've just got all of the petroleum coke coming through from there. Nothing's backed up, hopefully. So you are not using plastic there. That's fine. So you're producing 40 per minute. So we should be producing 80 per minute, right? But yeah, producing 80 per minute, but a certain amount is going this way. Oh, only 20. Okay. Because you're actually tuned down. Oh, hang on. No, you're not full yet, but you're very close. You produce 30 per minute polymer resin. You use 30 per minute, but fabric is full. Okay. So you actually need another awesome sink over here pretty much to split off. But we'll just do that because I don't even have a use for fabric really. The only reason I'm making it is because I otherwise would have a backlog of the petroleum product. And I would prefer not to. Which it also could just be chucked into the sink directly, to be fair. So yeah, you aren't backing up, but we're not producing enough fuel. Yeah. Because you're 40 and 40. 40 makes 40. You're making 40. You are producing 40. Okay, so it is all even. But we're not using all of it because it's going into here. But this isn't using that amount. But we've got 80 plastic being produced. Oh, but 20 is going that way. Yeah, that's right. So yes, that's part of the problem, is this is only splitting off 2020. So we are technically seeing a bit of a plastic underrun. But only just. What other ways do I have of making plastic? Residual plastic. We can use polymer resin and water to make plastic. So we could be doing that instead of fabric, since we're not actually using fabric. Because we already have water coming in here. So we can just swap this. Interesting thoughts. So if we just have like this going down here with a smart splitter on it, just so we can not have to reroute things, and then have you going in the bottom there, and then I'm thinking I could have you coming back around here. So let's swap from fabric to residual plastic. You now use 60 resin per minute, but only 30 is produced. So you're going to be half clocked here. So you're only going to be producing 10 per minute, not the full 20. Otherwise we'd have to overclock this, but then we do not use that amount of fuel. That's the thing, is this is backed up as it is. If we have... Did we actually make a smart splitter or just a normal splitter down the bottom? We just put a normal splitter down the bottom, didn't we? Yep. Idiot. Okay, well, because we don't want the plastic going in there as well. We want a smart splitter to do that. Then we can do this there. So the left output is fabric. The right output is plastic. Now it just depends on what we're making as to which direction it goes. And then we can have you facing that way. Then we can have a merger on this conveyor belt here, which honestly might actually just always be, like, we can get rid of the other side of it if we want to. So that will now have the plastic coming through here to join on here to mitigate the amount that's stolen from this side. Because what were we dealing with? We were dealing with 74 being used, and we want as much of that 80 that we're producing from those two going that way. So if we can mitigate this by having the 20 brought in here, then that's great. But that'll only last as long as we're supplying enough polymer resin. It's only good so long as we're using fuel. I did not mean to pick up plastic. There we go, quite the opposite. Because this fills up. Fuel consumption is 17.75 per minute, and we're making 40 per minute. Alright. Good to know. So we're making 40 per minute, which means we don't need to make as many canisters either. So we can actually drop down everything. So I'm curious. I have not actually built a fuel power plant yet, so I have no idea A, how big they are, or B, what they actually need. So let's try and see if they'll fit on this platform here. Power, fuel generator. Use quick wire and a bunch of other stuff. Do you only use fuel? It's only one input. Okay, you are huge though. Alright, maybe we don't put you on foundations, we just plonk you down over there. Let's do that. And let's do that. And have you coming in here. I mean, you're not, you know, huge, I guess, but still. Let's just put you over there. So what do you use? How much do you use? We don't know. We don't know until we give it an amount of fuel, because we've got different fuel options. That's the other thing, is we could be making turbo fuel, for example. Fuel. Oh, right. Oh. Parts. Fuel. Give me fuel. You are used in. So, to make that, we use compacted coal, specifically to make turbo fuel. Ah. We have petroleum coke. It would be lovely to have an alternative recipe for turbo fuel that uses petroleum coke instead. No, we will just be using raw fuel. So we can put a junction on like so. And then have you coming... Man, this is not going to be pretty, is it? Actually, it kind of is fine. It does slide underneath of everything. Just sort of. So if we put that to there, yeah, that's actually fine. That's crazy. All right. And then we can just put you straight across there. Okay. So we've got 40 fuel coming out. You only use 20 per minute. That's perfect because, yeah, 20 is the magic number pretty much. Okay. Nice. Let's string you up to that. Fire you up. Alright, so you use the 20 that I have kind of excess, more or less. I have about 22.5 excess, technically. But that'll mitigate the backup of fuel, which is nice. And we can actually step this down entirely. So we could drop this down to 20, because we've got a huge backlog anyway at the moment. So let's drop that down, which means that then this can get dropped down. So now we're only using 10 plastic per minute, which means that then this can be dropped down to only 10 plastic per minute, which is exactly what this needs. Based off that 30, which means this will no longer accumulate. Nice. If we find ourselves needing fabric, then we can swap this back over. But I haven't found another use for fabric yet. Very minimal amounts anyway, and I can then just process that manually if I really need to. How much rubber have we got sitting in here? Okay, it's actually getting passed entirely through. Alright, because we're only making 40 rubber per minute. So while we do have a backlog over at our base, I think we're now currently using more than what we need. Meanwhile, you're also producing 20 per minute, but you're full. So we just have another store if we need containers for anything. We also have more residue going off the back here. You're no longer producing it, but you still are at a rate of 20 per minute, so you're still going into the back of something. Into this one, yeah. So you're producing 60 per minute, technically. Which I had thought to use, but then never really got around to, so I kind of don't care. We can always do residual fuel and make more fuel just to pump straight into a power supply as well, a power plant. That would be a more productive use rather than bothering with petroleum, because this is just going straight into the sink at the moment. So residual fuel takes 60 per minute. We're only producing 20? Yeah, 20 per minute. So, that would actually be 15. Nope, only 10. 12.5. Nope. What then? 33.3333. 13.333. Okay, that's ugly. It's really ugly. Never mind. Whatever. I mean, that's all I'm producing, so that's fine. We could even reroute some of the heavy residue from the other side as well, to be honest. Or have this going into the same thing over here. Currently we're producing that. I mean, honestly, what we actually need to do is replace all of our current coal that's running off this with fuel instead. But is it worth it? Because 60 per minute, that was the same, wasn't it? 60 to 40 fuel? If we put this to 100 again. Yeah, it's 60 to 40. Well, let's put a fuel power plant in immediately so that we don't suddenly have issues. So fuel power generator. Here. Put a fluid buffer. Doesn't need to be a big one. Line here. Have a pipeline going across like so. It actually slides over the top quite nicely. Just. And then goes into there. Good. So then you hook up to that, but you are going to be underclocked. So you are producing fuel. You've gone into here. Good. And then you'll be slowly moving away into here. But if it's normally 20 that we're using, then this will be 66.66, I think. See how long it takes before you come through. You're filling up. Takes a while for it to come in. Come on. Come on. I'm sure I've hooked you up properly. You're definitely the output. You're pumping fuel out. It's not much, admittedly. How much needs to be in here before... It's like drain rate, fill rate. Here we go. Now it's fired up. Yeah, it took a while. Yeah, and it's going to keep shutting down a little bit. Yeah, 13.33 cubic meters per minute. So that is what it needs, and that is what it's getting. But it's so finely balanced at the moment. We could also do this for the time being. Just to boost the amount of fuel that's being produced from the amount of heavy residue that's coming in. I should just not have connected it up until this was full, really. Is the other problem. But this will now start to come in a little bit more. But yeah, so this is now producing... I'm curious about this now. So it was 60 to 20, right? Sorry, 60 to 40. Fuel. So residual fuel, we've got that 6 to 4. Yeah, so it's 60 to 40. Production rate 40 per minute, which is enough to power 2 power plants, which would be 500 megawatts, right? 500. Whereas this is 60 to 180. 180 petroleum coke is enough to power 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these, because it's 25 times 7, which is 175. Which is why one of them technically needs to be overclocked slightly in order to be able to take just that little bit extra. So like you, for example, if we make you use 30 per minute, I don't know exactly what I need to do to make that be the case. Let's try 110, 27.5, 115, 28, okay, 120. There we go, better. So that should now use all of the petroleum coke instead of having a minuscule backlog. So this should no longer fill up, because this is now producing the 180, we're now using the 180. And then each one is producing 75. So 150, 300, 450, and 90 is 540. Okay, so yeah, it's actually better energy-wise to turn that heavy oil residue into the petroleum coke to go into coal power plants. Except we have the water. Fuel power plants just use fuel and produce the 250 based on the 20, so we'd be making 500 off that. 540, but these also need to have 2 of these. These are slightly overclocked more than they need to be because we've also got the water going through to the other side. But these would be at least like 30. I think each one is by default 25 megawatts each or something. And that negates it. So that pushes it just below. It's marginal, but it pushes it just below. But also, if you just have it going into 2 fuel power plants, you don't need all of this. Because the amount of nightmares that I had and headaches I got from all of this kind of, yeah, coal network was so annoying. The amount of times it would just fluctuate annoyingly. So, you know, 2 fuel power plants coming off the back, you know, that seems worth it. So I could just replace all of these with 2 fuel power plants instead. But I don't know. They're there now. I'm loath to get rid of them simply because it's kind of, I don't know, legacy, I guess. You know, it happened. It's fun to see that it happened. Now we're producing 240. Are we using all of that? We're using 60 times 40. Anyway, the reason I came here was to collect more plastic, but unfortunately we didn't have any for me to collect. But now hopefully we will start to have a little bit more of a backlog again. I could also double production from something. Just like, again, just chuck that in there for a bit. Oh no, we don't want extra heavy oil residue coming in though. So the drone is now landing, so we actually wanted to steal a stack of 200. It's a shame because it means it doesn't then get as much, but it is what it is. And it's just, yeah, going through all of that to get over there. Maybe we will just leave that going for a little bit longer. Because you're backing up, you're not even full, so we don't need to worry about you too much. We'll leave that be for now. So the drone is gone again. This is now backing up again. We'll wait until we get another stack of 200 and then we'll steal that. We have at least addressed that bit here for now. But I do wonder... Actually, you're backing up, that's true, because you're kind of stalling at that point there where it's merging on. Because it wants to merge on evenly, I guess. Maybe we just get rid of this stretch here so it doesn't try and come this way at all. Because that's the 10 we need coming from this. That's all finally poised now. It produces 30 per minute. We use 30 per minute. It's all lined up. So we can actually get rid of that. And we can actually just do that. And have more come out. So we've got the 400 anyway. We can leave that splitter there so we know that that's possible. But now we just have the entire 40 going the other direction so that we're no longer sacrificing that. Got another stack there, good. So that's three out of 5 stacks. It's time to get those dismantle crates, I think. And by the time we get back, that should be done. So this is powered, right? So we can use this to fly. Good. Now, I do notice there is a rock up here. We do need to make more explosives. That's the other thing. Because I think I'm down to, yeah, I only have 2. Please be a Soma sloop. You're nothing. What? How disappointing. You're nothing. There's no moats or anything coming in. That's so annoying. That's such a waste. There's a big crater over here. That's cool. Now, that suggests to me maybe there's a Soma sloop at the bottom of it. Alright. There's a wreck in the middle of the crater instead. Okay. I was hoping for a Soma sloop, but a wreck will do. Alright, what do you need? You're just flowers, that's good. Steel beams, status, okay, so it's old stuff. It's nothing special. Oh no, it's using plastic. Rude. Okay, well, whatever. We're here, so we'll do it. I'm not happy about it though. I think there was there a Mercer up there, or did we collect that? I can't remember. Yep. Collect this. Yeah, where's the dismantle crates? Down here, apparently. It's so weird that they ended up over here somehow. It must have got, like, launched from something? Where even are they? Apparently dismantle crate. Also meaning it's just, like, clipped into the ground or something anyway. Huh? I'm so confused. Okay, well, I don't know where this dismantle crate is unless it's up in the trees or the space elevator. So that's just going to annoy me now. More explosive point there, but what's the betting? It's another waste. Ah, it's just a power slug. I can see the energy motes going into it. At least I can tell when it's like that. The fact that it wasn't making any noise on the other one should have been a clue, because it would have made some of the speaky words. Speaky words? What is wrong with me? It would have had some of the talking, like this sort of thing. Another Mercer.
I have something for you. It will establish a better way for us to communicate and deepen our understanding of one another. I've done the necessary developments on my end. The last note is yours to play.
Your symphony resonates. Your minute tapestry patterns beautifully.
Thank you. I worked very hard. I am organically transmitting the data package now. Any adverse effects on my blood will not corrupt its contents.
We hear this learning song.
See you on the other side.
It is time to tango.
Okay, well, good for you guys. I'm glad that you did something. I don't know what you did, but I'm glad you did something. A little bit of a weird side sort of plot going on in your own head that you're not a participant of, so it's hard to feel particularly invested in something that you're not even participating in. So I'm not quite sure whether or not I should care about any of that. It's something to listen to at least, I guess. Alright, so the drone is not here currently. Hopefully the plastic has backed up a little bit more again. Well, here's one more stack and then we can fill up what we had to put into the rack. Cool. And everything else seems to still be going as expected, so that's good. So you're draining nicely. You have backed up again, interestingly. Okay. Does that mean that you have backed up again? Not yet. Does that mean you're going to? Quite possibly. Well, let's just relieve you of that, and now I have everything that I need. Good. Time to head back. We have curated this as much as we can. We've got an extra couple of power plants going, which I think is quite nice. It's always nice to have a little bit of extra power capacity. The fact that I was just spending so long sending all of that extra petroleum coke into just the sink was just entirely wasted. So it's nice that I've now harnessed that and split that off into, even though it's underclocked, it's kind of subsidizing itself at least. Because it's still producing like 166 megawatts or something, and the refinery that produces it was using like 50 or something, and the plastic one is using 100 and something. So yeah, it's nice to at least subsidize that